Okay. All right. So there's a lot of things that I need to address, and there's a lot of things I need to go over. There's just so much stuff that I need to discuss, talk about, all the stuff, right? So I had made some comments, and I'm going to address this now. I made some comments yesterday morning about 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Pacific Standard. So I'm West Coast. So I made some comments about FadeAwayMedia, and exactly I made some comments about reactionary content. I didn't say anything malicious. I didn't say anything wrong. Um, I just find it interesting how many of you took it out of context and slammed me for it. So, no, I am not a defender of FadeAwayMedia. Let me make this really clear. I'm not. I think, at the end of the day, when you use somebody's footage, especially a big organization, and you don't ask for permission, yeah, they have the right to do what they need to do with their content. That is fair. Now, people can scream and cry all they want, fair use, fair use, fair use, but that's in certain circumstances. Now, I respect Sean Ross Sapp. I respect the process. I respect everything to do with him. If it wasn't for people like him, there wouldn't be people like me and Smooth doing shows like this. And we respect him. We use him as a source here at times when we're quoting things. But again, I'm going to say this in a professional way. And I'm going to keep this very, very professional tonight. What I did not appreciate was everybody coming down my throat and telling me, oh, he made nothing content, this, that, and the third. You don't get it. And then calling me a bunch of derogatory shit in my own DMs. So here's my thing. I don't care what you do on the internet. What makes you shit should not make me eat. Vice versa, right? My problem is when you're telling me, oh, well, he made nothing content. Okay, if he's made nothing content and he's a nothing burger, then why is everybody making it a big deal? See, that's what I'm scratching my head on. And the other thing is, if you're going to go that way and you're going to act like everybody should be silenced for making shit content like that, right? Then we should be looking at the bigger picture and going after everybody that does it instead of just taking out certain people. We went after reactionary content. What is next? And that's what I was saying. I did not say FadeAwayMedia deserves to continue to stay and it's fair use and all that, and I'm defending him. No. All I said was, look, if you're going after one, then you need to go after everybody. And if you're going to point the finger at everybody, like Sean Ross Sapp and all these people and people that were commenting and everything else, then we really need to point the finger at the people that make gooner content for women's wrestlers and take it in slow motion their ass and all this different stuff. Then we need to go after the people that take pictures and not put courtesy to WWE or respect the organization. You know what I mean? And where were people 10 years? It's been going on for 10 years. So where have people been? And also, it's not just WWE that's been doing this. New Japan's been well known for this. TNA has been well known for this. AEW, to a certain extent, has been well known to do this. So it's not just WWE. Don't just point the finger at them. Point the finger all around at everybody. At everybody. Okay? And to these people that said, like, I found it really, really, really unprofessional. The low bottom hanging fruit comments. So let me get this straight. I'm offended. Okay. There's a lot of people with disabilities in the world. And for people to say that is absolutely dumbfounding and absurd. And when I go to your channel and see what you are doing is you're clipping WWE content. You're modifying it for views, or you're taking still images of things and then you're having these fantasy booking moments. I just find it wild. And then one of them in particular was crashing out about Kyrie Sane. And I've had this conversation with this guy, and I've told him, look on X, look at this guy crashing out about that. Also, that same dude also came at me and made a big ordeal that I'm defending FadeAwayMedia and how dare me. No, and I want to make that clear. FadeAwayMedia, we only had 2 interactions between each other on DMs, and it was talking about my Lakers. That was it. He's a Lakers fan. I'm a Lakers fan. That was it. And he was respectful towards me. And I can only talk about my fucking experience. Pardon my language. My experience. That's it. I can't go and talk about somebody else's experience. What, like I said before to start this, what I shit should not make you eat and vice versa. It would be like me and Smooth going to a restaurant having one conversation and then people having a different conversation about somebody else differently. You know what I mean? So those are the things that I wanted to address because it really kind of just irritated me because I respond to things all the time on the fly and I have a mouth and an opinion. My co-host also knows this that I do. And I do it for a reason because I'm passionate. First of all, I'm a passionate wrestling fan and I'm a passionate sports fan. And if I have something to say, I'm going to say it. Same with gaming, tech, anything. I'm going to have a mouth and an opinion. I don't care how big you are or small you are. You could have one follower and I could turn around and make a comment and blast you. You know what I mean? So it's like, at the end of the day, I respect Sean Ross Sapp, but I don't agree with a lot of people that were saying to me about these comments. I mean, it comes down to freedom of press, freedom of speech. How far is WWE willing to take this? Because now it's going to become, should I be worried as a reviewer? Should I be worried as a news provider, right, in the new media? Should I be worried that if I say something about Finn Balor, or I say something about AJ Styles, or I say something about Undertaker, or I say something over here, should I be worried that Nintendo may drop a DMCA on my YouTube channel and all the shit that I've worked hard for go to shit because I have to deal with a strike? And if you've ever dealt with a strike on YouTube, it's very bad. Same with Rumble, same with any of these platforms. It's disastrous. It actually will ruin your channel. So I don't know if FadeAwayMedia was making revenue off the platform. Um, I don't know in particular, but if it is, then then that is devastating. And you know what? Look, there is a lot of people that make slop freaking reactionary content. There's NBA channels out there. There is MLB, NHL, gaming channels out there. And look, there's an audience for it. Like, it's like porn. There's just an audience for everything, right? So I'm not going to frown upon people that do the O face or the shock face or whatever type of face, right? And review, right? That's for people to interpretate, right? Or have an opinion on, right? I didn't get in the weeds with FadeAwayMedia or these reactionary channels. WWE went in and felt that it was redeemable to drop a DMCA and do what they needed to do. They are in an organization, but it's really becoming very apparent to me that WWE has favorites and what they're going to do is start silencing people and only pushing their favorites that pass a narrative that WWE's great and Mayberry and everybody else can get fucked. Pardon my language. I know I'm cursing a little bit. I said I was going to keep this professional, but I'm very passionate and I'm very passionate about free speech and freedom of the press and, you know, and I know this is going into the politics side of things, but I don't like what's going on in the world where big organizations can police smaller people and tell people what they can and can't say. And that goes against our constitution of what we are as a country. And it's wrong to me. Very, very wrong. And yes, I get the whole fucking reactionary content. I get this. I get maybe he wasn't the best content creator in the world, but so many of you have had so many different opinions. And it's kind of funny how many of you have come out of the weeds just to talk shit. And to me, I find that pathetic when I click on these channels that are talking shit, right? And and I find it funny how you guys are doing gooner content, taking WWE like Rhea Ripley. The biggest one I saw was Rhea Ripley, and you guys are like making it into like her cheeks going up and down. Like that's not fair use, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That is not fair use. Another one is taking WWE pictures and modifying them. Remember, they're going through some issues with AI. They just got shillelagh'd for fucking Danhausen AI shit right now. If you haven't seen the articles, people are flaming WWE for using Danhausen's likeness, I should say, and AIing it. Well, I've said enough on this opinion. This is my opinion, how I feel, and what I need to say, because honestly, I did not expect Sean Ross Sapp. I did not expect some of these dirt sheets to come at me. I respect my fellow constituents in the world. I respect people. But to say, oh, he didn't bring any content to the world, or oh, he didn't contribute to the world. Well, obviously he did. And the other people, because you guys are all talking about it, he was trending #1. Let's keep it, let's keep the buck stots there, man. If he was a nothing channel and he was a nothing person, then why is everybody talking about him? Why is everybody talking about these reactionary channels? Why? If they're a bunch of nobodies and they're scum trash and all this different stuff as you're all spewing, then practice what you preach. Please, for the love of that's holy. I can't stand when people practice what they preach and then don't practice what they preach and then they want to go online and talk all this shit. Like, you are part of the problem. And what I wrote on my social media platforms, what a lot of you are hypocritical when you do the exact same shit. You do the exact same thing, expecting the same results. And I'm worried about the whole DMCA. I'm worried about the takedowns. Um, I'm worried about Nintendo. I'm worried about WWE becoming like Nintendo and taking out people like the Gestapo. And that's what I'm worried about the most. And it's not going to affect the bigger creators. It's going to affect people like me that are starting out. And it's going to make it harder. And it's going to make it harder on my co-host if he wants to start talking wrestling shit. And we got to constantly look our backs now, dot our I's and cross our T's, which is morally wrong. Like, it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't be walking on eggshells to make fucking videos or make a stream or have a conversation with our friends and record it and have a good time talking about the things that we love to talk about. I find that shitty. And that's where my point was. It didn't have to do with, oh, I'm defending FadeAwayMedia. I can give two shits at the end of the day. People are people. But what I give a shit is when big organizations are policing everybody and telling people how they should and should act. What's next? WWE's going to tell me that I need to be jingle from like fucking Bo Jingles or fucking Raising Canes, and I need to preach because they have to control a narrative. Anyway, I'm gonna let my co-host say what he needs to say about the. I know we were talking off to the side, so I'm gonna let him speak his stuff on this. I know he wants to. I know he's chomping at the bit for it, and I'm gonna let him have the floor. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, I mean, you're right about what you're saying, and while you were ranting, I had to look through the DMCA, which is the digital Millennium Copyright Act. And basically, I'm just reading it and going through it. And if y'all have enough time, please go through it as content creators. Please go through it, read every word about it because it's very important now of what WWE via TKO is doing to content creators everywhere. And it's not right of what they're doing. They're violating First Amendment and First Amendment, First Amendment of freedom of
I'm gonna
speech
interrupt you
and
real
freedom of the
quickly. I
press.
forgot to mention this in my little tangent. We'll get to your
Go
comment
ahead.
here, Rocco, here in a second.
Mhm.
So WWE was using those people that they flagged out and took down. They were using them as promotional content, by the way, too. So just take
Oh,
it. They're taking these people's content, flagging them down, and then using it as promotional material on said platforms. Which I find that's also what I was trying to convey too. How is it that you could take down people and then start using their content to profit off of them? That's shitty. That's scumbaggish to me. You know what I mean?
true. And for those that feel as though, well, you want to be part of the army, the Gestapo to take down content creators just because they talk in such a different way than you, then you're the fucking fool. Then you're the damn fool for it anyways. And what happened to Fadeaway Media should have should have just been like, you know what? Let him speak. You have a right to his speech as long as he's not harming anyone online, as long as he's not infringing on anyone's operations as a as as the main content creators commented about wrestling. Because for that to take place and everybody's paying attention to him, that meant to say he was very much in the, a little bit in the know and and in the hornet's nest on certain things. because rightfully so, you can't you as okay, WWE right now is turning into what we don't like from the U.S. government. Would you say that correctly, my co-host?
I would honestly, where's my accent? I don't have an accent, but thanks, buddy. Um, I would honestly tell you, yeah, I agree with that. Also, and I would also throw into here too, in that same vein, right? Um, I would say that my comments were, yeah, okay, his stuff is slop content, right? We can all agree there, right? Not everything that people post online that have reactionary content is considered, um, you know, great content, right? What Fadeaway Media was doing was basically reacting to WWE content and I guess putting bare minimum. I didn't get in the weeds with it. I've only talked to him twice and it was mostly about Lakers stuff. It wasn't anything, it was nothing special. It wasn't anything. It was a nothing burger to be honest with you. And mostly thumbing up and talking about YouTube content. It wasn't anything like special. I think he gave me a little bit of advice. I didn't really take it and um but there is a lot of people on social media that do the same shit that he's doing. Like I said, I gave examples. There's a lot of gooners out there that take WWE women's talent videos and they slow it down. They don't give credit and they use it as sexual content, or they'll go to the hub or they'll go somewhere else, right? So to me,
Yes.
I think there is a line in the sand where people need to understand if you're going to make slop content like that, then we really need to dive deep into um other people's forms of content because there's more that meets the eye to everything and there's also too it's not just that like now it's going to come down to will WWE if you use an image or if you use something in your reviews in a thumbnail or you have a mouth and an opinion, should you be worried about and this will also be a trickle effect what people don't realize if we allow
True.
this then that's going to open the doors for ESPN, CBS. Um, and I also promoted this too. Like, where's the FCC chairman Brandon Carr? That made a
Brandon
big
Carr.
freaking ordeal about late night TV shows and daytime TV shows and how he was going to provoke all the stuff. So he's so much
Yes.
about freedom of speech. Where is it in this situation? WWE is
Where is it?
silencing people and taking away rights by the day.
Be-
That was my whole
because
comment. That's my whole comment
yeah.
here. I'm not bashing on anybody that commented towards me. I felt some of the comments were a little out of bounds because
Hmm.
I felt it was disrespectful when people are like low bottom fruit or common denominators. It's like, okay, what do you mean by that? Do you
What
mean
do you mean
stupid
by
people?
that?
Do you mean stupid people or do you mean people that have fucking disorders and learning disabilities and things like that? Because if that's the case, then that's very kind of offensive to me. Because I
Yep.
have my own disorders, I have my own problems, and I find it really ridiculous. And I have friends that have issues too. I find it also ridiculous too in the same vein. So then that offends me at that point because it's like, who are you talking to? And these people, like, if you read the comments, I'm like, okay, like you're upset because this guy made so many views off of WWE. It was going to come to a head anyway. Like these
Yes.
reactionary content channels, it was just any day. I was waiting. This has
Yeah.
been going on. This has been going on for 5, 6 years now. This is nothing
Of
new.
course.
And the people that are reporting it, like a Sean Ross Sapp and all these different people, to be honest with you, where were you 10 years ago when Vince McMahon was doing it? Vince McMahon
Yeah.
even went to the wrestlers and said, "You cannot be on Twitch. You can't be over here." So I'll let you keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm just saying, at the end of
True.
the day, I just think it's ridiculous that all these companies are sitting back and dictating the pace on how we should react as in content creators.
True. And basically what they're turning it into in this the DMCA crackdown and takedown of content creators, providing the people wrestling content to the world. It's such as what the such as what the government is doing in the here and now in this country, and it just gets ridiculous. But it also takes you up to the top. Take you, it takes everyone to the top of the food chain on who is on top of TKO and WWE and who they're and who they're friends with in the U.S. government. And right now, you see TKO WWE is in line with the Trump administration. So basically, they're working hand in hand and cracking down on wrestling content via the FCC chair, Brandon Carr. So Brandon Carr is being so silent about this. Sorry, this thing is just not wrestling now. Now it's getting to be a political topic to where a lot of people now have in this IWC, YWC, writing articles online, making video content about wrestling, in news form, have to speak out. You got to speak out now and say no. We can't have this. Let respect the respect the Bill of Rights, starting with the First Amendment,
Well, I will interrupt you
because
here
if
real quick. I'll interrupt you for a sec. The thing is, the reason
mhm,
I'm firing off the way I am, this is another thing. It's not about the guy that was
yes,
making shit content, as people were saying, right? I didn't get in the weeds like that, and that's not what I'm talking
no,
about. It starts with this kind of content, and then it festers into other things.
yeah, that's
People are
what
not
no,
understanding the bigger picture of this. The bigger
that's
picture
right.
is WWE could turn around and go, well, we're gonna put you have to come to our website and you have to comply like this, that, and a third. Nintendo was doing that with reviewers, where you had to
Hmm.
sign a document that stated when you review, you have to do these bullet points. That's where WWE is going to start going with content creators. They're going to pick their
And
favorites. They're going to pick their favorite outlets, and people like you and I, and people that do watch parties and all the stuff on Playbook and all the different shit
yes,
are going to be
hmm
terminated. That's
yeah,
my fear. That is my fear as a person, because it's like,
and that's
go ahead.
and that's why people have to speak out and form a bit of a protest. Put a
Yes.
hashtag, something, and say no more. You can't be doing this. Like I said, it's going into the political. It's going into politics, and it didn't have to be that way. I know what you were saying with fade away media. Now people wants to take that and make this thing political without them even knowing unknowingly, but they just did.
Well,
To where they're saying, "Oh,
here's another thing too. I feel like big media organizations are pointing fingers at smaller people, because the
yes,
smaller mainstream media or the new media is taking out the bigger media. So this is a prime opportunity to point the finger at the smaller guy and go, you see, we should be the one. See, we're the professionals. And it's like, um, I don't agree with that either, because you're seeing that,
no,
and I don't want to get political here, but I am going to cross that line. You're seeing that on
yeah,
CNN. You're seeing that on Newsmax. You are seeing a couple of
Newsmax,
these YouTubers that are progressive new media taking out the bigger ones, the ones that have been there for 50, 60 years. So
yeah,
it's happening,
and
and they're
and
trying
then
to silence those people.
and this has been going on for because I remember checking into new media back in 2009. So by the time I checked in it, like I said, new media politically, it was it was taking off in the late 2000s into 2010s. Yeah, of course.
You
CNN,
have new generation of people. Here's the thing. You have new generation of people. You have people that have different perspectives on things, and some of the new people that are younger than me, that are getting into the weeds of politics, sports. I'm enjoying it. Look, I
you
think
too.
it's a beautiful thing that we have new takes on things, and we should. We shouldn't have the same outlets as we do. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. Like, for instance, there should always be somebody up and coming that swallows the bigger one, and vice versa. That's how we pass the guard. It's kind of like eventually Stephen A. Smith will be gone. Eventually, they will have
Yes,
to find a replacement for him when he decides
yes,
to call it said and done. That's this kind of shit I'm talking about. Or, i.e., when Howard Stern retires, right? When this is probably his last contract with Sirius, they're gonna have to find somebody, build somebody up to be the next
with
him.
somebody else. Of
And
course.
that's what we're doing with news mainstream media, the new Gen Alpha, Gen Z stuff. And I've been watching like Andrew Malakakis and things like that. And it's like, to
Oh
me,
yes.
at the end of the day, right? I think WWE, they've missed the mark with this. I think it's going horribly in the wrong direction. And I
Yes.
think this should be a litmus test to all the other companies out there. Don't fuck with house money and don't fuck with people in general, because what's going to happen is, and I love Sean Ross Sapp that's saying, oh well, this is he didn't contribute anything. If he didn't contribute anything, my dude, then
But
why is
yet
he
you said something
trending?
about it. But yet you said something
You're
about it.
speaking about it. You're writing articles about it.
Yeah,
You're giving the guy validity. Like, this guy could come out with another account and instantly blow up. You guys made that
there you
happen.
go. You made it
See,
happen. You should have just nipped it in the butt. Don't say anything. Move on.
yep,
But you wanted to say something, but not you, but them. Y'all
yep.
wanted to say something about it, and all of a sudden, now he's the talk of the internet. He's
He's
the
the
talk
talk
of
of the
social
town.
media.
He's the talk of the town right
Talk of
now.
not even the talk of the town. Talk of the social media world. Period. And you're welcome. And y'all are welcome for that one.
Well,
You're definitely
and
welcome.
I also didn't understand this. People have to be offended to be offended. That was that Karen mentality and Jeffrey mentality. I'm like, you have to be offended to be
Yeah,
offended. You didn't even bother to watch the guy, and you're saying he's this, that, and the third. And
yeah.
then you go to that person's channel and you go, oh, this person's making gooner content. Oh, it's all about Rhea Ripley and Jade and their ass and this, that, and the third.
Oh, yeah,
And
with the whole
you have the gall
slow
to
mo
go and
shit.
make fun of yeah. You have the gall to make fun of somebody. Like,
Yeah,
when
that's
you're
like
doing the
that,
exact same thing.
and 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 that's like what's his name? Sean's View and
I knew you were gonna bring that
entertainment.
up. I knew you were gonna bring
Like
that up.
Sean's View Entertainment. Listen, I don't dislike him or anything. He's doing his content and he have his right for his First Amendment of freedom of speech and freedom of the press because he's got to put content out there. But too much of his content about about rumors about wrestlers getting hurt, getting into these car accidents or whatever the case is, and then when you go look it up, you don't see it,
Okay,
and
so
it's like,
this is where he's getting it from, and I've addressed this before on my channel because he actually subscribed to this very channel that I'm doing it on YouTube. This used to be Rev Sauce 9, now Wraith Realm TV, the official home. And you get
yeah,
my older content on this channel, but I'm just gonna say this: what I said about Sean's View was, and he followed me, and he even followed me on X. I don't know if he still follows me now. Um, I just said, look, when you go to Facebook and you go into these Facebook groups, that's why I'm very critical of like Liddy Wrestling, wrestling, whatever. You're giving your fantasy booking. You are that's also dangerous to me because you have
it is.
I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to try to be mean here, but you have ignorant people
No,
that
no,
will
no.
believe you have ignorant people that believe the shit. And what Sean is doing is he's capitalizing on fodder content. And I've always said this, I don't despise him. I wish he would just be more raw and uncut and unbiased and just be real.
Yeah, me neither.
You got people like JD from New York that does the same shit. That will go, oh,
That's
I
true.
have sources. Oh, I have. Do you really have sources? Or are you
Yeah,
just doing this for
you really
clicks?
have.
That's
Yeah,
another thing.
and
That's
then
another thing that WWE should go after. And I'm not
and,
trying
and
to
then
make.
too,
Go ahead.
and then too, you got the wrestlers out there that's gotta go. That's gotta have that's having the voices speak up for themselves and go after guys like
Well,
him
one thing I was
and Jake.
disheartened on, and I'm going to say this, one thing I was disheartened on was AJ
Mhm.
Styles saying all IWC, YWC is bad. I did not like
Are
what he had to say in response to the reactionary content. I felt that it was literally out of bounds because he does not understand that not everybody has a
doesn't
malicious intent.
no
And
no AJ no.
when we give a review, when I give a review, it's passionate from me and my own perspective as much as you as well. And it's like
Yes,
we're not here trying to say, look, we're just giving our opinion. That's it. You either take it or you leave it. I'm not trying to be. I the way I see it is, I grew up with Mike and Mike in the morning. I grew up with Cold Pizza. I grew up with the old school shows, Jim Rome. So the way I see it is, if I come on here, I'm not trying to emulate those guys, but I want to be in the ballpark because that's who I, as a person, as a kid, saw the most of, and I enjoyed that kind of content. I wish it would come back. I wish this real sports talk would come back. The only person I see doing that anymore, at best, is Dan Levitar, and I'm gonna go there.
and
Kwame
Jim
Brown
Roll.
do it. Jim Rome and
J-
Kwame Brown. I'm gonna say Kwame
yes,
Brown to an
Kwame.
extent. Like he's been
Oh
calling that
yes.
shit out for a while.
Oh yeah. Listen, Kwame Brown. Listen, Kwame Brown called it the go along, get along gang.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he always said, and he started with Stephen A. Smith because Stephen A. had this agenda going after him during his playing career, going to these colleges all over the country, and he's like,
Yep.
"Yo, what are you doing?" And then afterwards, Stephen A.
Smear campaign. Exactly.
Yeah, smear campaign, doing a smear propaganda, smear campaign all over the country, and then finally, years later, Stephen A. Smith had to apologize to him. Then then others started to come after him, and they started apologizing. But then he started putting on his own he started putting out his own content to speak out for himself, and now he's just kicking it. He's just doing
I
it,
hope
man.
this all put this in perspective of where my comments were. Like I said, I don't like being this way, but I don't like getting strays. I don't like people speculating things on my name, and I don't like that at all because my integrity is when I don't chime in on things often. I don't. And on social media or anything like that. But this was very passionate to me because this is just one step from silencing people. It's one step away from fucking with people and their livelihoods, especially. And Sean Ross Sapp should be careful on what he says because honestly, WWE could go and take him out. Look at what's going on with ESPN and that writer. Look what WWE did to that writer. That could happen to anybody else. And
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
And by the way, Sean
yeah,
Ross Sapp, I want to make this clear. If this, I want to make this clear too because you did comment, and I could show people that he did comment on my stuff. I'm not bullshitting. Okay, I keep it 100 with you. I don't want him to take that, oh, I'm saying WWE should go after you or something like that. No, I want to make that clear. No, I'm just saying as a journalist and as an article writer, same with Dave Meltzer, same with Brian Alvarez, WWE could turn around and go, I don't like that. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So, and then they could pick their favorites. Why are they pushing Stephen A.
yes.
Smith all of a sudden out of nowhere? WWE.
Yeah, WWE. Yeah, because WWE's got the whole deal with ESPN, so he likes his wrestling and he wants to be part of it.
Like I
And then
said
you flash
before,
them.
like I said in my comments, they are
Go
going to
ahead.
start favoritizing for people. Watch in live action. I'm also going to say this
That's what they're
too.
doing.
I'm going to end
Hmm.
this little video here. So if you guys are watching, make sure to rate, like, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching this. We're still going to be live going forward. So here we go. I'm just going to end this.